Entorno.
Por aquí sí. Madrid.
Os han liberado, un poco.
Oh, welcome everyone to this new GBO talk. Today we are going to speak about the new world of mobility, and I'm glad to have with me 4 guest speakers: Uliana, Torkunova, Ignacio, Estellés, Cristóbal, Colón, Fernando, Martín. Welcome all, and thank you for being here. And we are going to discover with this talk the current trends and future trends of the mobility world. So enough from me. Ignacio, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. First, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for your interest. And I apologize for my bad English and bad accent because I have been sleeping for a while. But I will try to explain you about my project, my company. And good be for me if I can share my screen with you. If I'm able, so can I do it?
Yes, you should have a button at the bottom
Okay.
of the screen that is share screen or compartir pantalla. Maybe you have to touch the screen or click with the mouse.
Hopefully it's okay now.
No.
No. No. Let me do it. I'm very sorry, but now is it working? Is it working now?
No.
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 Okay. Good. Good. This as usual is the last minute the challenges. Okay, we are MOOEVO. MOOEVO is a new company. It's a startup company which is focused in the sustainable mobility for a sustainable world. Okay, and our catchphrase, our aim is to expand limits for everyone, persons and things. Okay. We are Spanish, as I said, it's a Spanish startup. It's a 1 year, 1 year old, which designs and develops innovative and disruptive solutions for electric mobility of people and goods, transportation. Okay, so our goal, our mission is to improve life. To improve the quality of people's life with reduced mobility, but not only the quality of life of these people, but also of their environment, their family, the companies. We help companies to improve their mobility, their efficiency in the transportation. Okay. As I say, it's mobility is the key. Our platform, our product, our main product, allows to improve in a clean and efficient way the transportation of people and merchants and goods. As you can see in the screen, we have applied this solution of mobility in the fight against coronavirus. In the IFEMA hospital in Madrid, it was a huge hospital placed in the trade show premises in Madrid. It's like 4 by 5 kilometers long, so it's really huge. There are 14 pavilions, and each pavilion is between 500 and 1 kilometer long, from side to side. Okay, so it's really enormous, one of the biggest. So when the hospitals Spain collapsed because of the virus. The government in Madrid opened this facility, and they made all the infrastructure to make this was like a war hospital, okay, for the worst coronavirus cases. So it was a huge effort of the army, of all the how do you say in English, plombier, bomberos, okay,
Firefighters.
Okay, firefighters. Many different organizations involved. And at the end, it was the biggest in just 24 hours, the biggest hospital in Spain, with a capacity for 2,000 beds, and able to increase up to 5,500. So it was, so that would be the biggest in Europe. What I mean is that in such a enormous distance, the transportation was really a problem, because from the bed of a single patient to the toilet, it was like 400 or 500 meters away, okay, back and forth several times every day, and then to the X-ray, and then to the showers. So it was really at the beginning a nightmare for all the sanitary staff involved. Okay, I don't know how to say the people. The name of the people is not only the doctors, but also we call in Spain the celadores, enfermeros. I'm sure that you all know what I'm talking about. These people was doing like 20 kilometers per day, measured in the phone, 22, 20, 18, like this kind of distance every day, with not only with the patients, with the ill people, very ill people, but and often very old people unable to transport by themselves. Sorry, but also the transportation between pavilion and pavilion of the medicaments, of the analytics for the laboratory. So it was really a huge challenge, and the sanitary, I'm sorry, the medical staff was not enough to do that job, because they was focusing in the preservation of life. So what we did is to offer them what the only few that we have in stock, okay, in the warehouse, and we say, okay, it's better to try to help in this big distance transportation, that keep them in the warehouse without no possibility to sell them or to do nothing, you know, because all the people was confined at their homes. So we offered them, and really the welcome, the expectation that it create was huge. The medical staff asked for more and more MOOEVOs. We only had 25 in stock. We had to order more, because it was not only for excuse me, let me finish this. It was not only for the transportation of the ill people, but as I told you, is for every kind of need inside the hospital, the big trade show premises. Okay, so, and it was very successful in the sense that they were really proud that it was useful they were really happy with the solution. I can tell you that we only, it's just a little help, but at least it was we tried to help to those that really help, no? To those that really save the people. So that it was just a matter, what I mean is that just with the efficiency in transportation, we feel that we improve a little bit the big disaster in those days, okay? And then after this, the hospital is now closed because luckily the fight against the virus is being successful, and now is the situation in Madrid is going better and better. Now is under control. So after the IFEMA battle, the IFEMA fight, we went to apply these applications to the real life, to the business and to the life of the users, of the normal people. Okay, so in the case of the business, we found that this could be really helpful for different sectors. For example, logistics in the warehouse, inventory, transportations of, for example, you say this example of cooling cars, but it can be any kind of street foods, industry, replacement of goods in shelves, for example, for alimentary business and big distribution business. So it's and even as I point this in the second point is transportation of deposits for disinfestation, which is a main thing because it's something that is here to stay. No, disinfectation, discontamination in every public and private space. We see that it is a must. It's going to be a must for the next years. As I told you, it's here to stay. It's because probably there are coming more and more different virus and different types of this virus. So, and we found that there are no intermediary solutions between the big track of the, the ambulance, the army or the fire fighters, which is pushing the water under pressure for the big spaces. So this is the big solution, okay? And you have the small solution, which is persons with the clothes for discontamination and with a small bottle in the back and by hand and by foot cleaning each small spaces. Okay, so we think that there is a need for the streets, for the public buildings, for the private buildings, for the parks, for the airports, for the hotels, for everywhere. There is a need for an intermediate solution which is much more efficient. Now, as you can say, I think you can imagine here you see a normal cart for logistics, but in this cart we apply a big tank of disinfectation liquid and with bombs, pushers, that it's easy for us to clean the big spaces, the big rooms, the big streets, the big everything. Okay, so this is just an example. As you can see here in this picture, and it's nice for me also to remember. It's like 1 week ago. Sometimes I'm getting emotional because it has been a really tough experience. It's also very nice in the human side but it was really, really challenging for us. Okay, so when the hospital closed, the direction of the hospital say, okay, Ignacio, now there is no more patients, no more ill people in this big hospital, but we need 1 month to dismount all the hospital and to put them in the warehouse and we need help with all this logistics. So could you please apply your product, your platform, your electric platform, instead of the chair wheels for the patients to the logistic jails like this one, the logistic cars? Yeah, of course, we can try. And then we tried, we put a couple of them, and after 2-3 days, they call me, please, we need more. And now they're working. And it was amazing because, again, we feel that our product is useful for the people, useful for the fight in this crisis, but also useful for the solutions of mobility in the new world. As I say here, we needed to apply the use of extra batteries because all these solutions for mobility are working 8, 10, 12 hours per day. So we apply the batteries of the electric bicycles. We have this. We are coming from the bicycle business and also electric bicycle and electronics. So we apply this knowledge and we took batteries from bicycles and we put them in this kind of solution. So they are able to work for 4 hours continuously. And afterwards, we replace the battery and the vehicle is able to continue working for all the day long. Okay, without effort, without all the people, the logistic employees working very hard and pushing all these heavy carts for kilometers and kilometers. I'm sorry because honestly I have nothing prepared, so I'm just speaking you about my project and my feelings, no, as I am following my presentation. The solution is, we say, is very optimal because it's easy, very easy to use. You can see, I don't think we don't have any clear draw or any clear, but I think that you are able to get it. Otherwise, I put other draws, it's no problem, or other pictures with more detail. But you can see that the product itself is a kind of hoverboard, okay? Is this hoverboard probably all of you have seen all of them in many places, in many shops. This product is really risky by itself because it's not easy at all to manage, to drive. No? It's very, the YouTube, you can search for hoverboard accidents, is full. There's plenty of this kind of, because it's not easy at all. But when you have this platform, this device with a vehicle, with wheels, and you have the right structures, the right bars to drive properly, the whole vehicle is really simple to use and is really very, very effective. Okay, so as I was telling you, it's not only for this logistic, it's not only for sanitary and medical uses and hospitals and everything. It's also, you can see, Correos in Spain. Correos is the leader in Spain of how do we say? Come on, it's like DHL or UPS. That is the Spanish estatal company. Okay, it's Correo is for shipping, packaging, and okay. Sorry, Correo has asked us, and we have signed for the exclusivity in Spain. Okay. Now they put some money in the table with the contract, and now they asked us to develop a specific application of MOOEVO for them. They have more than 52,000 Correos staff delivering goods, cards, packaging, all kind of small goods around Spain. Okay, it's huge, and they asked us for this solution because they were looking for a solution for the last mile, and you know, this is very it's a combination. It's very simple, it's clean because it's electric, of course. It's very light. It's easy to drive, okay, and is able to introduce in any corner, in any door. Is the last mile delivery that they were looking for. Coming back to, for example, to our history in the hospital, in this big hospital, the medical staff went to the toilet with the patients, the ill people, and they introduced them in the toilet with the MOOEVO until the last place. I don't need to give more details, of course, but it's just an example of how efficient it is in going to from the bed 500 meters away to the toilet, to the last corner. Okay, so yeah, that's an example of another application for urban transport and delivery. And then going back to the or going more in deep to the details of the product, it has two motors of 3,500 or 350 watts. The wheels are, I mean, this is not a normal hoverboard. It's not a toy. It has been specifically designed. We have been working for more than 1 year in engineering and prototypes and spending money and testing with different kind of collective of final users in the schools, in the associations of disabled people, of people with limited mobility, excuse me. But what I mean is this is it's not a simple hoverboard, it's much more than this. It's specific for this MOOEVO application, okay? As I say, transport up to 200 kilos, even more, but with safety is 200 kilos, including the person that you are transporting and yourself, okay? We used to say that MOOEVO MOOEVO solutionates a need which is as ancient as the humanity, which is to transport yourself and other person or other things, okay? And we have, it has been made with dogs and horses and of course cars and trucks, and now we have this simple and clean solution, okay? We have a extra battery, as I told you, 20 kilometers of autonomy, or 4 hours of autonomy of use approximately. It depends, of course, how inclinated is your course. That is efficient, ecologic electric system, normal, lightweight, 9 kilos, everything included. Okay, and it is really powerful. It can climb slopes with 10% degrees. Okay, and of course it's innovative, disruptive, and exclusive. Why is exclusive? Because we have the worldwide patent. 1 year ago, we discovered that this thing is really is not only useful for people and business, it can be a system challenging, a transforming technology for some kind of transportation and mobility. And as I told you, there are many applications. We are just starting for the most obvious, but there are more and more people, more and more companies approaching us and asking us to develop all those solutions, and much more that we are not putting here. And I'm sure that you yourself, in your imagination, are able to think much more than us. So again, I don't want to repeat the same. It's social, it's ecologic, it's a double solution. It transports you and another person on another emergencies, and we are now launching it. And I can tell you that we are now taking orders, and we have some amount of back orders on arrival. The serial production started 1 month ago, and is coming in the next. Is arriving in the next 2 weeks. So in June we hope we start delivering the first orders. Okay, nothing else. And I don't want to bother you. Thanks a lot for your attention. And again, sorry for my bad English and for all the words that I forget to explain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ignacio. So any questions now to Ignacio?
I have got one question. This is Alfredo Perez, and it happens that I am an old friend of Ignacio, and I didn't know that he was going to present. I know Ignacio for e-mobility business from e-bike. Ignacio, this is Alfredo from e-bike motion.
Hello, Alfredo. Hello. How are you doing, man? Nice to see you.
I just arrived like 5 minutes ago, and I was very delighted to see your presentation. I love it, and I love the idea.
Thank you.
And yeah, I will keep in touch with you later on. And it was very glad to see you again, Ignacio.
Thanks a lot. I didn't say thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to hear you again. I hope that we can see each other in the next days or months as soon as possible. But I forgot to say that now we are in the middle of crowdfunding financiation round, okay, with our partners for this round, which is fellow funders, and we would like to invite all of you to be part of our family, because it's a equity crowdfunding, and of course I'm sure that I can share with you any details, and any everything is of course in our website, and we are open for that. Sorry.
Perfect. Thank you, Ignacio.
Thank you to you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question, Ignacio. Hi, hello.
Hello, Maria. How are you?
Very interesting. Is the business model a B2B or B2C as well?
Yeah, it's both, because
Both.
it's both. But the applications are very wide.
Yeah.
Okay, and on one side, we see clearly that it has the main thing for a product, which is it satisfies the customer. Okay, because it's very attractive for the customer, we want to go direct to the customer because it's very strong and it's very useful for us to have the direct communication. Okay, so we have an online platform for e-commerce where we are, of course, we are selling this direct to the B2B.
To a person like me, for example.
Exactly. Also, but it's not only this. Is we also like some personal link. For example, we give the opportunity that if you are interested, you come to our offices in Madrid and you can try the product in our small offices, okay, or in the neighborhood. But if you are not able to do that and you are living in London or in, I don't know, in Barcelona.
In Milan, I live in Milan.
Milan, beautiful, I love.
That's it.
Bello. We offer you the possibility to, you can order it, we ship it to you, you can try, you can use it for 1 month. If you're happy, we give your money back. This is our commitment because we're completely trustful on the technology, and the feedback for users and many users are really spectacular. So we are very sure if you try this, if you test it by yourself, you don't want to come back to your normal transport.
Okay. And then to the companies, do you sell directly or through distributors?
Exactly, and then we have the business to business. It has two different ways. One is to different kind of shops. We have orthopedists, for example. We have pharmacies. We have mobility shops. This kind of dealers where they sell electric bikes, but also every kind of electric solution in the urban environment. So for these kind of shops, we sell them, and they have the commitment. We are developing this. This is a network, of course. We are starting with Madrid. It takes some time to open and to get a more wide network. But then,
so other channels, other retail, other stores.
Exactly.
Related.
The idea that is that in Milano you have 2-3 dealers with one MOOEVO in stock and for demo testing, and then you go there, you test by yourself, and you purchase it. That's it.
Okay.
And also in the other side, we have the B2B business with we mean the corporate. That means, for example, we go to Milano or Madrid airport or trade show, and they, or hospitals, and they need this kind of electric transportation inside their facilities. So we give them this possibility to purchase direct to us.
Okay. Gracias, Ignacio.
Ciao, grazie.
Cool. Any other questions to Ignacio?
Oh, yes, maybe one last. I would like to know about the IP, or let's say kind of specific technology you have developed, and if it's protected or not, or how this part of the innovation is let's say something specific in your company. Because from the outside, where I see you have developed something which is quite simple. It's adding a Hoover to, I don't know, a wheelchair, and that's all. So I think it's not so simple, but would like to understand where is the innovation, where is the distinctive IP you have developed or you protected.
Exactly. yes, this is the magic of this. It's wonderful for me and for our business that we have two different devices which are already working and being manufactured per thousands in the world, which is a hoverboard and a wheelchair or a cart or a logistic jail. It doesn't matter, a vehicle, okay? For example, we are applying this to solution for tomorrow for a presentation for cargo, okay? For delivery companies, okay? And we take a bag, a tule wheel, what do you say? A tule, well, it doesn't matter. A cargo, a vehicle with wheels, we apply this, okay? So it's quite simple, you're right. But the connection between both of us, of them, is not so simple. It needs some, the right angles, the right combinations. You have to drive a vehicle which is able to, initially it is limited to 6-7 kilometers per hour for persons, but you can reach 20-25 kilometers per hour for if you are going to the delivery application. Okay, so I mean, it's something that has to be structurally strong enough. So, and that's the question. Nobody had thought in this solution, which is so simple, but nobody applied this combination. We saw this. We developed this for a friend, for the disabled son of a friend. We made several prototypes. When we saw that there's nothing else in the world like that, we're starting. As I told you, we're coming from a bicycle company, components bicycle company. The name is Rotor.
You are a member of Rotor?
Yeah. We are. I'm founder.
Had some connection with you.
Okay, good. I am a co-founder of Rotor.
You know Zuma, Z-U-M-A, Zuma?
Zuma, sí, of course.
No, okay, sorry.
Smart people, very nice, very honest. I like them very much. So it's well, it's a simple, apparently simple solution, but it was not so easy to solve it in a efficient way. Okay, as I told you, we are coming from Rotor, from the bicycle business, and we have more than 70 patents, 72 patents, and 33 of them are PST, worldwide patents. There are products that are already working in the Tour de France or the Giro d'Italia. So we know a little bit on how to patent and how to be innovative. We fight against Shimano or Campagnolo or RAM, which are big multinational companies. So in this kind of field, we feel some way comfortable. Okay, we know.
So is your solution patented?
Excuse me?
Is your solution patented?
Yeah. So exactly. This has been patented like more than 1 year ago, and now it's under PCT. Sorry, tramitation, and the result, the report from the IPO and the OMPI or WIPO is positive. So we're very happy. Of course, it's never easy when you speak about IP in a global world. Is you have to fight, you have to work, and of course there will be obstacles and challenges, but we are familiar with that. Okay, but at least what I can tell you is in the 230 countries, the main countries and main markets around the world, is patented. It's in the tramitation of the unified tramitation, and and the reports of the European and worldwide organization, patents organizations are okay, are positive. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ignacio.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
So we're going to move to Uliana. So Uliana.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Ignacio, thank you. Very nice presentation and very nice product, really. My congratulations. Yeah. I'm going to share my screen. Just a second. So I will give you some.
Sorry, guys. I need to leave for a meeting in a hospital. So thanks for everything.
Okay, thank you, Ignacio.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Uliana. So once again, I am founder and just a second, and the CEO of the company LetMePark. You understand, it's a parking company, and I want to talk about private car. As you understand, definitely, if you have a car, you have a park. So for us, it's very important topic. And I would say that for the first time, probably for the last 3 years that I am in mobility and with LetMePark, we can say that private car takes here and a role, a place in the mobility, because definitely you understand that taking into account all the trends in mobility, which should be sustainable, and all this, the car was not promoted, zero promoted, no? But now, I cannot say that the car is promoted now. No, what is promoted is a security. And the now car is the mean that can secure due to the situation with the COVID. So now I want to talk about this, I would say, phenomena, because probably it will be happening, the situation with COVID happening, this is really phenomena, the same for us, and maybe for all the mobility players who are having any kind of relationship with a car, also would be a phenomenon. So, and here you can see the first slide that I prepared for you. It's exactly why we think the car, the mean that can secure our lives, and that can be protect us from the infection. So multiple researches, and in this case, I'm showing you the research of one of the German entities, yes, with a reliable institution, saying about the level of the type of transportation and risk of infection. And here you can see that definitely the car has the lowest risk of infection, and really much lower than public transportation, even ride sharing, taxis. Yeah, definitely it's because of the distance that we can keep, or it's in our car we are very secured. So that's why the car is promoted, yeah, by governments, it's promoted by our employers, it's promoted, yes. Yeah? So the car now, it's taken a special role in that mobility, right? It's one. At the same time, we understand that there are another very important, and even in this case, phenomena, right? It's a work from home, teletrabajo. And in this case, a lot of people are going to stay at home. So to say that it will be a huge increase for now, we cannot say, because definitely a lot of people will stay at home. But will be the increase? This is right. And here, the next slide is one of the presses here that communicate that about 93% of the people want to use private car and not a public transportation. Definitely it's one of the publications. In different ones we have 70, 80. I just read a lot about that, and we also, because we're in this industry, we know a lot about that. Around 80%, I would say, of the citizens prefer to use a private car and not to use a public transportation exactly because of the risk, right, of the virus. Here you can see, for example, another research, one of the companies showing 71% preferred to move in the car, and only 16% prefer the perfect public transportation. Definitely before, this number was much higher. Also, maybe you're interested to know what other means of transportation that people prefer, it will be the motorcycle or the bicycle, scooters and car sharing. And yes, we are talking a lot about this and there are a lot of promotion, but you can see here it is not such a high level of the moto or bicycle that even probably we think. Even I saw that this level is bigger. I think there's like probably moto and the BC would be higher, but in fact the car is very high. And here, how we use the car? We use the car, our own car, or we look for different kinds of solutions to have this car. And you can see that in this right side, that to buy the car prefer only 35%, and 65% of the people are looking for different solutions to have a car. It can be car renting, it can be car even sharing, or car renting short-term, long-term, but it's really this also industry, not only moving to buy a private car, it's called a private car, but here is also, we have seen a lot of car renting and car sharing company. For example, the company BP, maybe you know this company, it's one of the companies that provide the car renting in a very easy way that you can just do it in their website, and they give you a car and you can change it in every single moment. And their subscriptions increased in April, May 200%. So you can see, so like these industries, and we can see not only people are talking, no, that we would like to prefer the private car, not only are talking, they are doing. And the real data, the data from the businesses, from the car businesses show us BP, the car renting, increased 200% increase in the subscriptions, this car renting. Another company is, for example, the Click Cars. That's the company for sales of the cars online as well. And you can see here, 4 years, they increase rate was about, growth rate was about 1.23%. And in the last 2 months, they increased almost 10%. So 4 years, 1%. And only in the last month, almost 10% also. That shows us that this business is moving like very, very, very fast. And the people, and it's not only because like of not only because of the risk of infections. The same thing is that in the public transportation if before 10 people can enter, now only 3. Every 3 out of 10 can enter in a public transportation, because it will be limited. Because we need in the metro, right? They need to keep the distance between the people. So a lot of factors, I would say, influence these trends. Okay. And now I would like to tell you a bit about LetMePark, because we are part of this. Because if you have a car, you definitely need to park. So we are saying that every single trip starts and ends with parking. So when you are secured in your car, when you go to the parking, and in many cities will be public parking, not on street, when you can pay with the application, because on street parkings we already consider that full, plus the terraces will be prolonged to create and it will be prolonged, including with this place the cars are parked, and in this case we need to think about the parking. So in this case, LetMePark offers a public parking, and it offers the parking which will be safe. Let me tell me again what is LetMePark. LetMePark is a unique integrator of parking services with a major parking network. We have about 380 parkings automated access, which is the safest parking, and more than 3,000 options with the reservation, which is also will be safest option. So you will integrate all of those, but it's not all of them. So there is the main players that have different solutions, including automated, because automated parkings, those are the safest one. And we adapted our solution to provide the best, the safest option in these situations. Again, what means safest? When you go to the parking, you press the button to open the barrier. That is a contact. You stay in the queue to pay in the parking, and those areas to stay in the queue are really small. So you stay in the queue, and then you use the machine that also is public use. Definitely is also the risk. So we promote and we integrate all those parkings where you just enter, the doors open automatically, you park, and you exit without passing by the payment machine and staying in the queues. So here are the automated safe parkings. How we do it? We do it with our robot parker, which is a virtual assistant that automates all the parking process, integrates, and then provides to the user the search in all the platforms, and sometimes in hundreds of parkings, reservation if it's necessary, payments, and access to the parkings. And again, if you allow me, and it will be just take 1 minute, I'm going to present you that small video again to let you know about this solution, because I think it's really very important. If you are talking about private car, and I agree that a savings means of transport, when you go to the parking, there is a risk there. Okay, so just 1 minute, I will show you this video.
Por fin puedes volver a desplazarte y retomar tus actividades.
Wait, it's in Spanish, so not everyone will understand, so I think I'm not going to show it. So, but anyway, here we are saying that, and you can see it in our webpage if some Spanish speakers, but basically it's saying that how it's safer and how you can use the service. And if you are anyway, the people who are interested also can see in our webpage how you can use the service and get some discounts, because also the parkings now apply a lot of discounts to support the drivers. So you can see it there. I think here I finish. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer to all your questions about the mobility, the car, or about the product.
Thank you, Uliana. I have to say that I'm a happy user of LetMePark, so happy to hear that.
Now I know. Now you just have to start working from home, no, and start going to the meetings of the global business owners. Yeah, like definitely now we use the car less, but soon, as we will be in the phase 1, 2, 3. I don't know how it's in different countries. We will use the car more, and then you will see maybe, and at some point you will need this solution.
Hopefully. So, any questions to Uliana?
Perdón.
Okay.
Uliana, does it work only, I presume this is only for Spain?
Yeah, for now it's only in Spain. You are from, where are you from? From Italy, no?
Well, I live in Italy.
Yeah, in Milan, no? Yeah, actually we have the database there. And we are going to be soon in Italy and France. Yeah, so for now we'll be only in Spain, but soon, yeah.
Uliana, what I haven't got is what is the difference with currently existing automated systems? I mean, in some of the parking systems you have developed, MPark or some others, they already have the automatic parking system via T, you know. This stack you put in the car, and in theory, this system is a universal system. It is used for highway payment, for airport parking payments, for let's say this kind of parking companies. So, and it could be used for many other uses. So the question is that the system is already existing in terms of automation. What is your system adding?
Yeah. So
I haven't got the
yeah. Let me explain you this. Yeah, this is we have different platforms. LetMePark, you said, probably you know some other ones. Interparking, there's Indigo, OpenGo, there is like this VET, no? There are a lot of systems, and only in Madrid we have 11 different ones. Some of they have like RFID, QR, different. So for you to be able to use all those parking with automated access, you have to register and to understand all those platforms. What we do, we don't provide additional system. We integrate, we give a standard. So we integrate all of the system in one. So when you register in LetMePark, you have access to all of them. And plus, you probably don't know someone. I'm saying you, there are 11 different ones. Maybe you don't know. Wismar Park is RFID. We have Indigo, Telpark. We have El Parking. We have APK2, there are small parkings. We have even a Kinza. They have own system. So there are a lot of them. And first, you don't know all of them. Second, when you go to the parking, you will not go to all of the 10 to see if in, I don't know, Plaza de Colón, which one is. Probably even to compare prices. So what we do, we connect you to all of them, creating like kind of a standard, probably, if you want to call it like this. And then you have access to all of them. Plus, having this access, when you ask us a parking, we analyze all the parkings in the area. We analyze the prices, the distance, and the automated access, and your preferences. So it's like not our solution, like own technology, but it's integration with thanks to automatization of the systems.
Okay.
Thank you, Uliana.
Yeah, it is just to understand something, because I was living in Madrid for many years, but I'm not currently living in Madrid, so I'm a bit far from the problematic. So
it's not actually in Madrid. In a lot of cities,
it's maybe not so common in other smaller cities where I'm living now. The question is, what are these platforms providing? Let's say reservations, things like that, or just access to the parking?
They have reservation as well, so you can access, or you can book it.
Book.
Yeah, for example, if probably you go somewhere and you need to make sure that it's booked for you. Plus, with booking, the price can be cheaper, so you can also book it. So in our system, you can see, for example, this parking is automated. Plus, you can make the reservation if you want.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay, so thank you, Uliana.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you for all your questions.
And now we move forward to Cristóbal. Cristóbal, you're up.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Miguel. I'm going to share my screen. 1 second. So I think now my screen is sharing. Okay. So, well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here talking about mobility. Just a quick introduction of myself. I'm partner in Roland Berger in Spain, and I am also the head of automotive and industry here. And I have been working for more than 15 years in mobility, automotive, or industrial topics. Well, my presentation is going to be more about trends that a concrete solution or opportunity, and I think that this kind of trends are shaping the future of mobility. I think it's key to understand the different trends. So there is a lot of material in my presentation, so maybe I'm going to go fast, but if you want the material after the presentation, I can share it with you with no problem. So I would like to start with a context, because what is happening in mobility, it's also already happened on other industries. So for example, in lodging, in music, or advertising, or photography, that already happened. They changed or they disrupt the industry because new players enter in the industry, and this kind of new players, what they did was to give to the users a more user-friendly environment, or maybe just to provide like a technological way of doing things more easy, or to get the legal hurdles more smaller. And what happens with these pros and cons? You can explain that in 3 words, and always happen on the same way. First, you have an industry with a significant friction, and we will see why I say that mobility or automotive now has a lot of frictions, because well, we will see in a couple of slides. And we have to always to start with an industry with a significant friction, or harmless, or they are very limited alternatives, or there is not a good balance between supply and demand. Well, so we start in a very a friction point. Then someone proves that this industry can be frictionless, and they can generate like profit. For example, you can think in, and this frictionless can be because of well, new technologies, new legislation, new people mindset that this is currently happening in the mobility environment, or behavior, or maybe the public institutions are doing some changes on the legislation. I don't know, but the thing is that someone takes advantage of this, and for example, Uber, Spotify, or Line, they did it in the past, and they take advantage of this. Then normally 1 or 2 innovators enters in this industry and proves that this has an attractive business. Then came the second wave, and in the second wave, what happens is that the profit is visible to everyone. So there is a distribution of new profits to everyone. There is a lot of new players, new entrants, and probably the incumbent players reduce the market share because of the new players. And this is happening, well, in the music with Spotify, in the lodging with, for example, Airbnb. It's happening in the mobility, for example, with all the Uber platforms, for example, or with the micro mobility solutions like Lime or others. And when this happens, normally we end in a new, different kind of industry. And for me, this is important. This context is important because for us, for me, and for us as a Roland Berger, we think that in automotive there is a lot of frictions now. Because if you know the automotive industry or the mobility industry, you see that this is not a very well defined or profitable industry. For example, the assets that you have, they have a very low productivity. So you can think on your cars. You normally use the car maybe for 60 minutes per day. This is less than 5% of use per day. And if you think that you invest, it's the second bigger investment on your life is a car, I think that is a very big friction. Also in the health space, this automotive industry provokes a lot of casualties. Nearly 1.3 million people died on the road per crashes, and it's like 2.2% of all deaths globally. But also between 20 and 50 million people injured or disabled. Also provokes congestion, and this congestion is bad because we spend time there and we are not productive. So we calculate that around 10 billion hours per year in congestions, and this is more or less 10% of our driving time. And of course, what is now very on the consumers, on the public regulation and everything is the emissions. And of course, the automotive is one of the most we're the industry with the most emissions, with almost 20% of the global CO2 emissions. So what does it mean? That this is not a very good industry, it's not very easy industry, and it has a lot of hidden costs, like 100 US dollar billions on congestions, or more than 500 US dollar billions in road accidents, plus all the emissions and that goes to the atmosphere, and is not so easy to quantify. No? So being told this, I think that we have like some trends. I will go through the 4 mega trends very quickly because I think that we are not very good on time. But what is happening now is that this is well, the new future of mobility is going to come from 2 sides. Like for one side is the new pattern of consumptions and the new patterns of mobility, that this comes from the consumers, but also there is another part of this new mobility that comes from the institutions, or for the governments, or for the public sector. And this has to be with the urbanization, the megacities, the smart cities, the regulation, the CO2 emissions restrictions, etc. So, well, this is like the explanation of every of the megatrends, but we can see in the first one, for example, but we were talking about new pattern of consumption. You can see a lot of surveys that say that car is not so important to have it. They prefer to have other kind of devices like laptops, or even own a house or apartment. So car is even more or less important on the consumption of the people. And also, as I said, there is another trend, that is the urbanization. Well, this is not new for I think for all of you, because well, population is growing. There is an estimation that in 30 years we will be almost 10 billion people living in the earth, and these people is not going to be dispersed around the globe. It's going to be concentrated on the probably on the urban areas. So that means that there will be a lot of people living together, and this means that probably the way of the mobility between the people and the goods it has to be different, because we are talking about double the size of the population, and if we double the size of the population, we maybe have to think on how we are going to move, if we are going to move, because maybe now we are going to work from home. We don't know. But this is another trend that we have to take into account. Another trend is like the new patterns of mobility, and we are, at least from Roland Berger, what we are observing is that everything is connected, so there is not like a unique travel path or customer journey. Some people use the private car, then moves to the micromobility, then moves to car sharing, start with the train, and then moves to bus. So everything is connected, and this means that probably in the future of the mobility will be connected also, and probably there will be new entrants and new players that plays a specific role within this ecosystem. And it's important to understand that micromobility will be, for us, one of the key drivers of the new mobility of the future. Then, well, there is also what is driving this. Also, is not only the consumer or the customer, is also the governments, because they are well, they are putting bans to the private transportation around the globe, for example, London, Madrid, Rome, and it means that probably they are driving the change to a shared mobility, or to other kind of public mobility like the buses or the trains or others. And at the end, this is a reflection of the new city of the future. That, of course, this new city of the future, one of the most important elements of this is the smart mobility. So when everyone is talking about the smart cities, of course, smart cities is about the smart energy, environment, education, buildings. But one of the key points is the smart mobility, because with this you can order the traffic, you can manage everything, you can be more efficient on the way of how you transport people or goods, and also to improve the urban logistics in an era of the e-commerce or work from home. So this is another trend that is impulsed by the governments. So in a nutshell, what we think, Roland Berger, is that the future mobility of tomorrow, and I'm talking about 5 to 10 years, will be very different to actual one, because there will be based on a lot of new technologies and probably on a new business model that now we don't know how are going to be in the future. But at the end, it will be as many business models as technologies as probably uses on the mobility. So that's why this photo illustrates this so good. What else? So at the end, what we can conclude is that, well, today, in one hand, we have like the regulators that manage all the infrastructure or the regulation of the emissions and these kind of things. We have, on the other hand, the operators that are, for example, the taxi cabs, the rental, the leases, the public transport, and in the last hand, we have the neighbors. For example, the parking garage, the locators, the maintenance, the charge stations, the ticketing, the gas, the gas stations again, the repair services. So the problem is that now this is a very complex and big ecosystem, and what we see that in a near future, there is going to be a neutral operator. Maybe this operator will be public operated, or maybe it will be private operated, we don't know, that will concentrate everything and offer to the customer, because the customer cannot manage all the complexity that we are having now, but probably also customer won't be able to manage the complexity of the tomorrow mobility. What does this mean? That in our, well, there's a lot of text here, but I'm not going to read this, but at the end, we see that 3 possible alternatives. What we see for sure is that it's going to be mobility as a service in every city. So mobility is going to become a service. It's not to be based on assets or having a car. It's going to be a service that will serve the user in base of the customer journey of the user. And these mass platforms can be developed in 3 ways. Maybe there is going to be a public mass operator that takes it all. It is like, for example, if Madrid decides that like the Metro Madrid is going to be the operator and everything has to be through them, for example. The second alternative is like an aggregated liberal mass that is like a free market. So you have like some standards for the connectivity, and then everyone can enter in the market and offer the services. And the third one is like the public authority enabler. That means that maybe in the case of Metro, is Metro that sets the standards, and with that standards, they kind of sort what players can enter or not based on maybe a request or maybe public concurses or whatever. So at finalizing the presentation, at the end, what we think is that mass mobility as a service will drive the change in the mobility ecosystem, that there is also a hidden factor here that is the local regulation, that is going to be the real driver of the change. We think that there is also now with the COVID and in the future a new mobility consumption culture, and that means that we are moving from owning an asset to use it as a service. And we see that there will be also the need for the development of kind of neutral operators, like, for example, an Amadeus on the airline industry, or other players that can order and make standards on the mobility of the future, because if not, it's going to be too much complex for the users to use it on our opinion. Okay, thank you very much for the time. Any questions? More than welcome.
Thank you, Cristóbal. So any questions to Cristóbal?
Yeah, sure. In my case, I have questions. Cristóbal knows me, and he knows that I can't skip making questions. There are some questions, because it is very interesting what you have shown as a very interesting approach for those who had already, let's say, research in the mobility world. They could agree on some things. The question is some outcomes I've got from Roland Berger analysis or approach. One thing is, for example, it seems that the mobility is still not mobility as a service. I mean, let's say the big change in the mobility environment. This is still not in the disruption stage. I mean, it's in a pre-disruption stage from your perspective. I mean, Roland Berger's perspective. Would be one question. And second question is, since mobility is quite related to an industry like automotive industry, what is your perception of the role this industry, like the big OEMs producing cars, could have in this environment where you have a mobility as a service with, let's say, free operating market or very regulated market? So these two questions. Not easy questions, I know.
Yeah.
The first is disruption. Is it the moment for disruption or not?
Well, I will start with the second, that is more easy. Well, yeah, that was I was trying to explain at the on my initial presentation, because now what we think that we are on the third wave on the disruption, and that means that there is new profit pools, and everyone, as I say, mobility is a topic that is transversal to a lot of industries: energy, automotive, transportation, a lot. Well, there is no profit pools, and there is all profit pools that are going down. So the thing is that probably the most biggest players, like automotive players, are trying to take advantage of this mobility world, developing platforms, developing new ways of micromobility. And I think that also, for example, energy companies like Endesa or Iberdrola in Spain are doing the same. So I think that this is going to be a battle based on the technology that they can develop. And I think that automotive players are far ahead from the others. And in the first question,
you mean far ahead? So
far away, yeah. Far away on the positive.
So some disadvantages, you mean?
Yeah.
Excuse me, far away or far ahead?
Far away.
Far away.
Okay, so, okay.
Yeah.
Behind.
Behind, okay, thank you.
Well, that's because automotive players are very big. They have technology in the cars, but they don't know how to use this technology to engage customers, to sell to the customers. They sell cars now like 50 years ago. So in this context, they have the resources, But as you see, then comes an Uber or other player with more fresh minds and goes over the automotive players, or Tesla even.
And they are very slow, no? All this.
Yeah, and they're very slow because they have a lot of production facilities. It's very complex to manage all this. And the first question was about if we are on the disruption moment now.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you have shown somehow that there are three main steps,
yes,
stages, and my understanding is that you have highlighted that we are in the friction moment, not so much in the first wave. In some cases, yes, in some cases, not so clear.
Yeah, well, I will say that we are, depending on the value chain, we are on the first, on the second, on the third wave, I will say.
Even in the third wave?
Yeah, for example, take into account the car sharing. We are on the third wave, for example, in that. Maybe we are not on that way when we are talking about the private car, because it's still on with a lot of frictions. But the problem with automotive or the mobility is, in my opinion, is so big. There is so many players in this mobility world that probably some parts of the value chain, are in one wave, then in others, and then in others. And we have to take into account also the impact of the COVID, that probably is going to be an accelerator or an stopper for some of the trends. So we will see what happens, but for sure that I am sure that in 5 years, the mobility is going to be totally different. I don't know if in which parts or with which kind of players, but for sure it's going to be different.
And big players or small players, new players, or 50-50, or big players will buy all the small, how you said, like aggregate, integrate.
Well,
what to us? What is better to prepare? To grow or to be the part of someone big? You said that it's like one will be, will be the leader, but who it will be? A big one or a small one, but who is
well, the point with the mobility is that at the end is an asset-based industry. So you have to have assets, and to have assets, you have to be big. So probably big players is going to win at the end. But what I think is that in the process, probably if now we have, I don't know, 30 big automotive companies, for example, maybe at the end there will be 5 or 4, or maybe 1 for each market. I don't know, but it's not going to be like so much companies, automotive companies, also with the car sharing, also with the micromobility. This is going to be like a shrink because of the you have to have assets, and that means investment, and that means money, and you have to be efficient. So they are going to merge probably or disappear.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, you're seeing it today, Cristóbal, right? With all the mergers. I mean,
yes.
Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi, PSA also buying Opel, now Fiat, Chrysler, blah, blah. So all of them are going towards what you say.
Yeah.
I think to absorb the impact of the disruption that comes to them from several places, yeah.
And I think there is a difference because these mergers have been happening for, let's say, decades. It's nothing new. So you can imagine in America, this happened in the 30s, in the 20th century. So it's nothing new. I think the big change is what Cristóbal said, is that if the mobility is changing so much from what it is now to a new, let's say, ecosystem or new way, for a player will be so complex to manage so different ingredients that it would be impossible to manage many players in the market. So there is a kind of accelerating or catalyzing system, accelerating the process, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We are living in a very interesting time, no?
Yeah, as always.
The witnesses of all this, if it happens in this century, no?
Thank you, Cristóbal.
Thank you.
So shall we move now to Fernando?
Sure. Okay. Okay, I understand you see my screen right now.
It's charging.
Okay, so you let me know when it finished charging, if it didn't.
Yeah, already.
Still charging?
Yes, already.
Okay, good. Okay, so what I'm going to talk here, I'm going to give a little bit of background as well on the rent-a-car industry and what is happening to it right now, and how they can also take benefit of the situation and move on to a more, let's say, digital approach towards customers. In Eccocar, we basically give technology to them in order for them to digitalize the whole reservation process. Not only to rent a car, but we also give it to car dealers, corporates, urban mobility operators, everyone. But this topic here is based on the rent a car case. And as you did, Cristóbal, I will give a little bit of background, uncertainty, and adaptability, and then I will show you what are we proposing to them in order to transform their business. It shouldn't be very long. So right now, the Boeings, the Lufthansas, the Airbus are all saying that basically 60% of the global fleet it's grounded, it's not flying, and they're forecasting coming back to normal in 2-3 years minimum. So in the very end, this means that no tourist travels are going to come at the same level in 2-3 years, no business travels, no travel at all. One of the main things that I believe is going to be impacting economy and mobility and the rent-a-car business is basically the consumer behavior. We just got used to staying at home. We maybe found out ways of doing things that before we didn't know they were possible remotely. And probably, you know, Martín Warszawski, and I took this quote because it's very representative, right? So then what several consultancy companies, this is from Deloitte, but there are several of them. This one is telling us that by the beginning of next year, the domestic tourism, travel, corporate travel, and so on might be recovering to almost the same level, not the same. If we go to McKinsey is telling us different scenarios. This is basically a U recovery scenario where it dips down and basically it stays down for a long time, saying that we will recover in the Eurozone by 2024 with a GDP change of almost minus 10 or a real one of minus 13. But they also give us another scenario where basically the recovery is more in a V, where they say that the recovery is in 2021 of the Q2 in the Eurozone with the drop of only minus 4.7 compared to the other one. So what I want to come down to here is basically that there is only one thing for certain, that we can basically predict demand and when the demand is going to come back. And I would even say that not even approximately, right? So we talk about fleets of planes ground there, people not wanting to go out, even the CEOs of Boeing, Airbus, Lufthansa, etc., saying recovery in 2-3 years. I think it's too far away that we can really predict it. So basically, it comes in a scenario where right now rent-a-cars basically are down even from 95 to 99% of the reservations are gone for them. Most of them think that this year are going to lose all the touristic business or most of it. And it looks very daunting because in the very end they have the cars. They don't know what to do with it because nobody's renting it and nobody's renting them. And yeah, what I'm trying to tell, what we try to tell them is basically that it comes a stage of adaptability. And basically we want to tell them, give them a framework where what they should follow in order to adapt, and what tools we could provide to them in order to find new business models and new ways of putting those vehicles on the street. So I took this framework from McKinsey. It's called SHAPE, and basically, I like it when it says that when rapid revenues is not the response. So it doesn't really matter if you're really looking for rapid revenues or really reducing your costs at your prices in order to sell a little bit more. In a situation like this, I don't think it's enough, and you need to start changing kind of from the core and how you do things. If we go letter by letter, so startup mentality, I think it explains itself. Fail quick, do instead of spending too much on research, and analyze what you're testing in a quick way, specifically if you can in a digital way, which will give you more overview and quicker. Human at its core, again, think of your team of a flexible, competent team that can do maybe the same things from home that they were doing before. Even if you don't believe it, you should give them a chance. Acceleration of digital tech and analytics. As I mentioned before, in order to monitor and be quick on your feet, you will need digital tools in order to see what your decisions or what your new business models are doing very quickly to make the decisions of whether you keep them or not. Not wait until the end of the year to see if something worked. Wait 2-3 weeks to see if the response is good, and then if the response is good, maybe invest more on those business models. Purpose-driven customer playbook. Put the customer in the center. So right now, people basically would be careful when renting a car, would be careful when going to airports and making queues, or they will probably try to avoid crowded spaces in order not to get in contact with people. And ecosystems and adaptability, again, now again, trying to adapt, maybe it's time for you to find partners that will help you through this stage. This is a big test, but what it basically tells is that a Chinese rental car company that in February lost 95% of their revenues recovered 90% of its business in 2 months after the crisis. And what happened here? They have basically again worked and reacted like a startup. They invested in new use cases. They started to do more social listening, so they really try to understand what their customers want in this scenario. They are used to renting the cars in the same way for decades, and now it was time for them to listen. They have created new targeted campaigns depending on what they were listening on, and these different targeted campaigns were also monitored closely and quick in order to make decisions on which campaign is working and which not. Various safety steps to the company as a no-touch car pickup, so that basically implies that no customer will have to queue or go to any crowded place, even counters. And yeah, they also mounted agile teams, cross-functional skills, etc., etc. So a different kind of profile that normally a rent-a-car company has. And they flip it up to 90% of its business. That's probably an extreme case, and in China probably the things are working much quicker than anywhere else nowadays. But it's just to show that in a case of crisis, if you really focus on doing the things in a quicker way, in a better way, and you start listening to your customers, there is a way to turn it around. So now it's where we come in, and with our platform, basically, we are able to help car rentals, as I told you, mobility operators, car dealerships, corporates to start their shared mobility business. So what happens, what we do for them is we connect their fleets So we make those cars connected, and we give them the whole, let's say, white label platform so that they can launch their own shared mobility services. This is the experience that we give to a rent-a-car, where you can basically find the parkings on the map. You can find the cars that are in that parking whenever you want to reserve the car, pay for it. And then once you pay for it, you're able to unlock it directly from the mobile phone. You're able to pay for it, etc. So we basically are converting them into a self-service rental for people not to have to wait in queue or having to go to crowded places and make use for picking up the car. Yeah, target one, again, keep giving service to the users, so don't stop fully. Some of the users might be interested in doing the self-service I just mentioned. And again, and reduce the fixed costs. Nowadays, cash is king. We all know it. And many of them are having a lot of offices, a lot of places that are costing a lot of money. Also with assets, some of them are defleeting. So basically they're reducing the fleet, but they still need to keep a little bit of fleet. And this will allow them to still monetize some of the vehicles to these people who are actually afraid of getting into crowds or making queues. We are also telling them, if you reduce the amount of offices that you have, and you have some tools that will give you data, real time, you will be able to make decisions and see where you actually want to place your vehicles. Maybe this year they will be able to find that spot in Spain or anywhere in the world. We have more than 10 countries that service, to put those vehicles in order to monetize them and understand in which places they are having more demand. And this is what I was mentioning before with the area schema. The user probably will not be really willing to go to a counter unless they really need it. And right now the users are going through brokers, they're going through webs. But if we also enable the app will also give the rent-a-car recurrency, which currently most of them they don't have. Because many of the people are going through brokers such as Expedia or Booking or the web, and they are not basically catching them and making them recurrency. So this on the self-service, but we also have new business lines for the rent-a-cars if they want to. Some of them I will give you an example of how they are jumping on new business lines. Right now we are seeing a spike into the bike use. I think everywhere you see examples in Milano, in London, in Bogota. This is from Switzerland, where every means of transport is just going down and the bikes are just spiking up. What tells us is that basically people are becoming more self-aware. They are not needing or wanting to use the car or the public transport, obviously, as it was mentioned before in a previous presentation. You see cities already pulling in plans that they had before. So many cities are seeing the skies are clean and they want to keep them clean. So in order to do that, they're going to probably restrict, as they are doing right now, roads for cars or especially internal combustion engines. And they're giving more space to pedestrians, bikes, and micro mobility operators. This is the example of Milan. New York City is following closely, and they want to keep the pollution to a minimum. So we also offered them, the rent-a-cars mobility operators, the opportunity to do also micro mobility. So basically, we can give them in the same app the rent experience, or basically the round trip experience that you already know, but we just basically make it contactless. But we also are able to in the same experience, to have like free floating vehicles all around the street or wherever they want. This basically offers social distancing per se. It's not the same social distancing as a closed car, but still. Synergies with traditional rentals, we can combine it, as I said, and the user acquisition is very low. So basically, if you guys know it, many of you in Madrid, you see scooters, you see mopeds, you see bikes on the street, and basically you know they are billboards on wheels. and the cost of acquisition is very low. But then, you know, they have the task on retaining that user and basically telling them and sending them specific targeted campaigns for micromobility, but also for renting a car, might help them retain those customers. So yeah, in this case, we also allow them to configure every single geofence, every single vehicle that they want. So you can combine mopeds, kick scooters, bikes in share or free floating, but also in rent. So you can have every kind of vehicle in every kind of reservation method. And this is an example of a rent-a-car we're working with in Firenze. Basically, right now we have onboarded them, and they are doing car sharing with electric vehicles, but they are also jumping into the micromobility with bases. This is an example of what we could support for our customers. So basically, it's going to look like 50 bases all around Firenze. They are going to have kick scooters in those bases, charging all the time, but they are also going to have cars to rent, car sharing combined with kick scooters, and probably bikes are also going to come. So this is an example of how a typical rent-a-car business is kind of recycling itself, taking benefit of how the cities actually want to keep the skies clean, and launching new mobility services for keeping the mobility needs of the citizens in check. We're also seeing a rise, as also it was mentioned before, on renting and subscription. Many people want their own car right now, but many people also want to work from home. So there is kind of this dilemma: should I buy a car? Should I not? And many of them are going towards the BP model, right? The subscription renting model, because it's more flexible and in the variant gives you a private car without having to pay for the whole thing. So we are also working with on that for our customers. Some of them want to give subscriptions. So the whole idea here is that, hey, you have a lot of assets sitting down. This is kind of the conclusion. You're not getting any rentals. We're giving you options, and we're giving you a platform that can launch your own white label branded app and put those vehicles to work in a free floating per minute way, in a round trip per hour, per day, per week way. And you can even have the subscription. So basically, we allow the users to make reservation from minutes to months with the same app experience. And yeah, if you want different results, you have to try different approaches. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Fernando.
Fernando, I have a question.
Go ahead.
How do you do with the cleaning and the?
Yeah, we just give them the. So we do not operate the cars. We basically give them the digital technology for them to engage users or younger users, or maybe you're afraid of going to an airport and go and make a queue. So you will have the option in an app to rent the car, pay for it, and unlock it and use it. All the cleaning, operation, and maintenance of the car is still on the rent-a-car side. But it's a good question. Many of them are thinking about putting these ozone machines inside of the car, or very small ones, in order to clean it. Some of them are. I heard from City that they are basically doing a cleaning every 24, maximum 48 hours, and before it was up to a week. So they, yeah. But I have to tell you, what we offer to rent-a-cars normally is they don't go for the free floating. They don't want to become City or Webull or anything, or they just want to have this self-service that allows them to reduce the amount of people they have in the offices, and allows the user to kind of access quicker. But in the end of every rental, they will clean it as they always do. You know, this is normally how the rental-cars start. And we offer them.
Cars, but the bikes are all in the street. It's impossible.
Yeah, when you have the free floating on the street, you will have people using a car that was used before without cleaning, because it's basically not possible, right? All this free floating, like Share Now, City, and so on, it's impossible that they will clean it every time. But yeah.
Okay. Sí. Thank you.
Prego.
So now we're open for questions for any three, including Fernando, Cristóbal, Uliana. So if you have any questions for them?
Everything was clear.
Yeah, maybe we can ask the people something. You know,
I
if
wanted
they don't
to
have a question to us, we can ask something to them.
I have a question mainly for Fernando, but well, to all. Is there any app or platform or something like that that lets a private user rent his car when he's not using it? Like
Yeah, there are several. Yeah,
my house and I'm not
there
using
are
it.
several.
Yeah.
There are several. You have Social Car from Barcelona. They're, I think, the only Spanish one that survived. Actually, we started like this in 2016, for which we kind of pivoted. You have also Drivey, which are originally French, and I think they got acquired by Get Around, which is American. So Get Around or Drivey, probably you will see
Yeah,
that.
Drivey. I know a lot of good things, but
yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's called peer-to-peer car sharing. If you want to investigate it, peer-to-peer car sharing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Drive is kind of very good because they provide you everything like insurance and a lot of things. So like, and the most important that they have people, you know, because like your car, you will earn money on your car if somebody rents it, no? So they have a lot of users, they have a good marketing and good, you know, like conditions for you. So your car, if you really want, will be safe. So I saw this option at some point. It was interesting to know. But yeah, Drivey, I know they're very good.
From my experience, it's been tricky with these companies because in the very end, it's not only putting the technology and finding the demand. You need to convince the owners and in order to make the offer, yeah. Right? So and it might be that you have the demand, but in the very end, you don't have enough cars. Or when you have the demand, you have cars that are too expensive for the people that want to rent it, or you want a cabrio and you don't find it. It's tricky to. I mean, I'm a user of these platforms, and I used them for some years, and I changed. So because I didn't see the offer that I wanted every time. And in the very end, yes, I was friend of a Russian guy who was renting his car every weekend and so on. But then I stopped, and then that's it. I stopped using. So no retention on my part on these platforms. So, but yeah, you can do it. It's interesting. And I think that, you know, adding to what Cristóbal said, right? I mean, mobility is changing right now. A lot of things is changing. OEMs are slow, but they have the money and the muscle. And they have also tried to, share now, drive now, Car2Go, whatever you had in Madrid. You know that BMW and Daimler have merged in the operations of the car sharing. So if you see Car2Go in Madrid or wherever you are, they have merged right now with Drive Now with BMWs. So here in Munich, where I live, you basically can rent the Daimlers and the BMWs in the same platform now, because of the operational cost and being in the venture or a corporate venture, right? It's very cash intense. Operations are very expensive, and you really need to be lean in order to make money with these things. So they have by far the highest price and so on and so forth. So they're big, they have money, but also they require a lot of expenses in order to launch these new services. And sometimes they are not really competitive with other smaller, more lean startups that are out there. So it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky on who will win. Probably in the very end, if a lean startup wins market share, then the big fish will, you know, either buy them or eat them, or I don't know. But yeah, we will see how it plays out.
Thank you. So any more questions? So I guess here, and thank you all, especially our guest speakers, Uliana, Cristóbal, Fernando, and of course Ignacio, who has to leave. And it's been great, and it's been very, very positive. So thank you.
Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you, guys.
Hope to see you soon.
Yes. Hopefully the government lifts up all the lockdown.
We can do the meetings in the terraces.
Yes.
By the way. On the rooftop, better.
Thank you all. Bye for now.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye.
Okay, good. Thank you. Bye.